Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals, and today I've got game number 3 of this best of 5 match point, ladies and gentlemen. And it is between, in the top left position, the red Terran player from Team Liquid, TaeJa, and the blue Zerg in the top right of Whirlwind from Team Millennium, GosWser. Now GosWser, I don't know how to tell him this, but he's having a bit of a tough time. He's currently 0-2 against TaeJa and is kind of getting rolled a little bit. He needs to switch things up. He's tried the crazy tactics with the proxy hatchery in game number 1. He's tried the standard play in game number 2. And really, I think the big thing in game number 2 that hurt him so bad was the fact that he didn't start his Baneling nest for so long. And if he just had Banelings in that first push, I think maybe he could have held it. So, yeah. That was game 1 and 2. TaeJa, he's just flowing along nicely. He's like a river, just going and winding his way through this series perfectly happily, perfectly safely, pretty much unstoppable. GosWser is the one who's got to build a dam right now, and I just don't know if he can. I hope he can, because I want to see more games. That's really my big motivation whenever I'm casting a series, that a player makes a spectacular comeback, is because I want to see all 5 games, because then there's more awesome StarCraft. You, the viewer, get to see more awesome StarCraft. And we also get to cheer for the underdog, which is also amazing. Everyone loves doing that, especially the British, because quite often we are the underdog, especially in sporting events. Except at the moment where we're doing Epic, and for any Australians watching, how do you like the Ashes? I realised that every Australian who subs to me on YouTube possibly just unsubscribed because I brought up the Ashes, so I'm sorry for that. It was just in a kind-hearted joke. You beat us so often at cricket that we have to make sure we bring it up when we do win. We learn how to deal with losing and getting rubbed in how terrible we were, so now you guys can too. Anyway, back to StarCraft and not other sports. We do see that the SCV coming down. No gas this time for TaeJa. He's going a bit more economically focused, so no Reaper early on. Just going to go for a 1-Rax CC. Why does Battle.net keep turning me off busy? What is even going on here? I am getting rid of that. There we go. I'm sorry, I know that ruined the production value, and I showed the unpretty interface at the top and all of those sort of things, but it keeps turning me off busy every time I enter a game, and I don't know why. Anyway, we do see, of course, gas is down there. We've got the hatchery coming down for GosWser, all looking fairly safe. Notice that, as of yet, TaeJa hasn't scouted, but the Overlord has come in and taken a little peek. I don't think that the Overlord was seen, though, because the SCV was over on the wrong side, and that just means that TaeJa still has no idea. He's having to wander down here, check the bottom right position and go, is the Zerg here? Nope, we're in the close positions. Now, what do these close by horizontal positions mean? Well, the big thing is this area in the main base is huge, because medevacs, they can just come wandering in from this sort of direction, come through, land up here, deal a little bit of damage, then kind of poke down here, and if a 4th base is up, try and pick this off, and then come back, and just generally fly around and be awkward. However, this base is probably going to be one of the last ones, really, that GosWser wants to take. He won't expand towards his opponent. He should come and take this 3rd, and if he doesn't, it's slightly crazy, is a simple way of putting it. Now, factory coming down, command center is up, a very early lair. A very, 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 very early lair from GosWser. What is he planning? What is his secret strategy? What is he going to do? I just don't know. Okay. Super early lair, 2 gases. We don't have a Roach Warren yet. 2 base muta is pretty damn crazy. And we'd also see the 3rd and 4th gas very soon. So I don't think that we're going to be seeing 2 base Mutalisk. There's the 3rd gas. There is a Spine Crawler coming down, to be fair, which is something you usually get if you were going for a super quick tech up into mutas to be a bit more defensive. It could be some other things. It could also be, for example, Hydralisks. That's a possibility. Could be some quick Swarm Hosts, some quick Infestors. But what is unlikely to be is a Nidus, because there isn't an Overlord in the south position. If there was an Overlord here, I'd say Nidus is really popular, because, yeah, no vision around in this area. And TaeJa hasn't even built a supply depot down here, so he wouldn't know it was coming. But there, oh, it's going to be a Spire, and it's scouted! That is such a miracle scout there by TaeJa. He sees the Spire coming down. Even the Overlord generating some of that creep there to try and hide it, and he can't. Oh, that hurts so badly. GosWser going 2 base muta, and it gets scouted. That is possibly the worst thing that could happen to you, shy of like going 2 hatch before pool and getting proxy 2 racks. Infestation Pit is also on its way down. Interestingly, the Spire is still being allowed to finish, so this is quite unusual. Maybe just gonna keep that going in case the scan comes down. A little bit of mind games on their way. GosWser, this is a very unusual build because he doesn't have a third, and because he doesn't have that third base up, it just means that TaeJa's economy is better. Full stop. And that better economy is going to allow TaeJa in the middle late game to be devastatingly effective against GosWser, unless he is able to do something magnificent with the Spire and Infestation Pit. Now, what is the Infestation Pit for? I've got to admit, that's the part which threw me off a bit, because the Spire, yep, 2-base muter, that's cool. The Infestation Pit, though, what have you got planned? What does that aid? Other than you got your Spire scouted. But anyway, 4 Mutalisks coming out now, 5 Mutalisks on their way. There is still missile turrets, Vikings. TaeJa knows this is coming and is just going to get everything he needs to defend this. Hellions going to try and poke up and just say, nope, there is a wall off there, can't get through. And fall back, which is perfectly safe to do. And yeah, I just say now that TaeJa, as long as he holds off the damage from these Mutalisks, he's going to be fine. And with a missile turret down, with the Marines coming sitting back, he shouldn't have too much problem. Although, has he... Oh, there we go. I was just about to say, he hasn't got a missile turret in his main. That could be a bit dangerous. But one coming down, although I still think Mutalisks could squeeze through the side here and start picking off some SCVs. Mutas starting to make their way forward. They're going to get met by a good number of Marines and missile turrets who aren't going to be coming in there. They're going to try and find a nice little angle of attack, and that's always an important thing to do. The Marines pushing forward. The Marines don't have +1 or stim yet. Stim is just a few short seconds away, but good control by GosWser. He's able to pick off a couple of these Marines, just do a little bit of poking and prodding damage, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Infestors coming out behind this. This is pretty much a 2-base all-in now, in my opinion, from GosWser, because he still doesn't have a third, and he's been on equal bases for so long that it'd be crazy if he doesn't just commit to this now. So we'll be interested to see what he's going to do. A missile turret is up here, another one getting made, going to get the SCV sniped off, and that of course means that these Mutalisks could try and deal with reinforcements as they come in, but the Marines dealing some nice damage. They've got stim now, +1 is about 50 seconds away from completion. Here's the third from GosWser, but it's going to get scouted by these Hellions, going to try and take some damage, and this third is just so ridiculously late that this still is pretty much a 2-base play. If damage isn't done very soon by GosWser, well, it's a flat-out win for TaeJa, because GosWser's economy just isn't good enough to keep this up. But a move out by TaeJa is actually a very brave move, and these Mutalisks are going to start dealing some damage. There's only one missile turret of the natural damage, let us not forget, and that means the Mutalist is going to start poking in, picking off a good number of SCVs now, but the third base could potentially be in a bit of trouble for GosWser, and the missile turret trying to do some damage. The Mutalisks on their way back. TaeJa has lost 7 workers so far this game. The Infestors are at the front. That's not where you want Infestors to be. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, but a Fungal Growth did go off first. The Roach is able to force this back, and that was okay for GosWser. He is trading more cost effectively than that of TaeJa, but those 2 Infestors going down was a bit of a loss. He ideally would have wanted to keep those up and get the Fungal Growths off and let them go and bank up energy again. A big gas investment on 2 Infestors off of only 2 bases. So the Mutas, the Roaches, the Hydrodent even now coming down too, but TaeJa, he's busy taking his third. GosWser is now ahead by 11 workers, but I don't know, I still don't feel like he's got a commanding lead, especially with this third up now as well for TaeJa. GosWser's on equal bases. TaeJa's going to be able to start muling. He's going to have his income start skyrocketing. Not to mention that at the moment TaeJa's playing at over 400 APM in spikes, so that's fairly intense. It's really showing in his play. He's on top of dealing with this Muta harassment. The Muta's still going to be able to come back in again, try and pick off a few more SCVs, because there is only the single missile turret there at the natural base, and I think this is a really smart way for GosWser to play it. He wants to try and deal damage where and when he can. Finds a supply depot that isn't defended by the missile turret, but then flies straight into them. That's not the best thing to do. Ooh, 2 Mutalisks go down, and you do not want to be losing Mutas to just a missile turret. That is less than ideal. The Mutas coming back in. They're going to try and pick off this supply depot. We'll be able to do so, but it will supply block TaeJa, so that's a little bit frustrating, but it's picking off the workers that really GosWser needs to focus on doing. Getting rid of the gas geyser as well would be good. A couple more SCVs trying to get taken down. Marines coming back up though. Missile turret getting a couple of shots down, but still, just a little bit frustrating. The Hydras are going to be forcing back this medevac, and actually GosWser seems to be coming back and playing so much better than he's done in game number 1 and 2 all of a sudden. Really being on top of this control, dealing with this harassment from TaeJa, picking off the medevac with the Mutalisks, and while the damage hasn't been astronomical, he's still killed 12 workers. And TaeJa hasn't killed a single drone this game, so actually things looking quite nice at the moment for GosWser. He's definitely coming back into this game The worker count exactly equal, but with mules, TaeJa still slightly ahead, upgrades equal too. So really, GosWser, with so many units out, has to go in and deal some nice damage. The tank line isn't that long, there's only 3 tanks there. The Roach is going to try and find an angle of attack that they can really utilize. The Marines on their way forward. SCV's getting pulled. TaeJa knows that he's got to hold this, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of problems. But is there too much Zerg? Well, the Swarm is crushing through this infantry at the moment, dealing as much damage as it can. The tanks, well, one is about to go down, one still remains up, but still more and more Zerg flooding across the map. With the tanks down, there's very little here for TaeJa. TaeJa's supply is absolutely plummeting. He's at pretty much a third of the army supply of GosWser. He's having to sacrifice up this third base. The mules are going to go and run and hide, but it is not going to be enough to escape from the might of the Zerg Swarm, and that means that GosWser knocking out this third base is going to be pretty damn happy. A couple of mules and SCVs hiding in the corner, literally shuddering with fear from the Zerg, but yeah. GosWser, that is the push he needed. He's now got a base up. He's in a much more commanding position. He dealt some good SCV damage after the SCVs were pulled. He's securing up a 4th base. Everything going now a lot more smoothly for the Millennium player. GosWser really looking to be in a controlling position in this game. Still 40 army supply up. And not to mention the fact that he's got a solid little worker lead plus a base up. But TaeJa, he's not going to be going down without a fight. Dropping up into the main base. The Mutalisk coming back to try and deal with the Marines. He's going to start picking them off with the aid of a Queen, and that means the medevac can get focused down. The lair getting transfused. That's got to stay up, and with a swarm of roaches just cruising their way back up and in, we'll be able to clean this up without too much damage being done. Only a single drone has been killed this game by TaeJa compared to the 30 SCVs that GosWser has slaughtered. So this is suddenly looking very much like GosWser is on his way to making a fantastic comeback. Mule's getting cooled down at the third once more, but just look at the number of units making their way forward. There's also these infestors down, so some good fungal growths would be big. The tanks, there's only 2 of them currently. That's going to make it a lot harder to defend this push. They're also clumped up so they can get taken down very quickly and easily, not a long tank line. Hive getting started too here from GosWser, who is now just pushing up. Is he going to be able to smash through into this third? Well, the units for TaeJa, there just isn't enough stuff here. The tank is going to do some damage, but the Hydralisks now starting to work down on the orbital command. How much damage can they do? Are they going to be able to take it out? Yes, I believe will be the answer. It goes down, and that means that TaeJa is now on 2 bases to the 4 of GosWser. A nice little fungal growth tried to go down on those Marines and Marauders. There is another one, still enough energy on one of those Infestors. The tanks, 3 of them still remaining, but TaeJa is definitely on the ropes here. He's in a lot of trouble, and I love the fact that GosWser isn't trying to rush in for the kill. He's trying to get the good position, deal damage where and when he can, try to get the good engagements, and just defend the drops and stay ahead. Monopolize on his lead and get even further ahead. Look at this, even coming arching around with a small group of units. He's getting ready, preparing for the full surround. Is it going to be effective? Here he goes, in comes now GosWser from every angle. He's going to try and crush through this Terran force. Is it going to be enough? In he comes, the tanks dealing as much damage as they can. A couple of fungal growths on their way through. The medevac count not exceptionally high. GosWser plowing through, the tanks falling, and GG's called. GosWser making his way to the comeback. He brings the series to 2-1. Game number 4 is about to be coming up. Like this video, leave a cool comment, and then I'll see you at game number 4 in just a second.